man.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, August. What's today's date? The 6th. I think I've got an updated one in there, Joey, if you can look. I believe I do. I hope I do. If not, I'll get it. Welcome into another episode. We are now just 27 days from kickoff, September 2nd in Nashville. That is an 11 a.m. local. Someone was asking me today. Apparently, I need to look. Apparently, the YouTube website says 1 p.m. That would be way better than 11 a.m., but it's not true. It's 11 a.m.
Yeah, it definitely is 11 a.m.
But
Whatever.
Maybe if we just start saying 1 p.m., maybe ESPN will start to believe it, and maybe it'll get changed. So maybe we just start saying that.
The last time Tennessee played at 11 a.m. local time, we whooped that ass. So
we did. That's a good point.
I'm cool with it.
Okay, that's a good point. And apparently we're also the away team. How does that happen in your home state?
Wait, I thought it was a home game.
I saw when people were talking about uniforms, I saw some people say we were the away team. I don't know for sure. I'm just putting that out there.
I don't think that is true.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how it's listed, but I thought it was just a neutral site game. But regardless, it's in the state of Tennessee. I feel like Tennessee should be allowed to wear their home uniforms. I don't care what it says on the sheet as long as Tennessee's in orange. I'll say that.
Right. Yep. I agree with that. No
And I don't
gray,
mean white with
black.
orange. Yeah,
We just want orange.
orange. Danny, you heard it here first.
Yep. Orange.
We speak for everyone, I promise. I am ready for that game. We've talking a little bit about this weekend. Fired up for that, obviously. Fired up to be in Neyland the following week against Austin Peay. Cannot come here fast enough. We are still, though, continuing our 2022 rewatch. This week was a lot of fun. Last week was fun, too, obviously. Or last episode was a lot of fun. This one, though, was just – we talked about it, how the rewatch of the Florida game still a little, has some anxiety in it. No anxiety. None. You knew it was going to happen. It happened just how you remember it, and it was sweet.
Yeah, just let them have it from the opening kickoff. Awesome. And I love that we just – because when you look at LSU, like their first game, they had just tons of mistakes on special teams. And I love that Tennessee just exploited that in this game as well.
Yeah, I don't think that guy's –
We watched film, confirmed.
Correct. I don't think that guy's with the football program, with the LSU football team anymore. I hope not, at least. Brian Kelly sent him up a scissor lift. That was – I mean, we whooped their ass. There's nothing else. There's really no other way to put it.
Yep.
So we are going to recap all of that. Can't wait for Landon to set the tone, take us back in time. Well, I love it. This is a good episode to talk that LSU game. We do have a lot of other stuff. Football, college football, as we know it, is collapsing, and I can't wait to talk about it. We're also going to talk a little baseball. Baseball got some good news, and we've got to also kind of discuss Tony Vitello might be. I mean, Tennessee might have two teams, an A and a B side, come this season. The way the roster's shaking out.
Yeah, who's going to win that inter squad? That's that's your starting lineup for that
Right.
week.
Right. So we'll get to all that. Before we jump into the show, though, I'm going to tell you guys about our good friends over at Underdog. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectibles store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autographed helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card release, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT graduates and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Stop by the 640 Plaza at 4452 Western Avenue in Knoxville. They're open 6 days a week with live YouTube shows 3 nights per week. Remember to always bet on the underdog. You can find them near a Domino's, Little Caesars, whatever it may be. Go check out Underdog. Shout out to Underdog.
Yeah, they had a pretty cool event. They had a free Topps baseball card pack when you went in yesterday. So, hate that we're just now telling you about that, but it seemed like a really cool event. And, yeah, they're going to have a lot more, so go be sure to check them out going forward. We're going to start with just talking ball.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah. News. Okay.
Let's do it. Let's just our new slogan. Just guys being dudes.
Yeah, just
Oh, can I give you my ultimate just dudes rock moment this weekend? Guys being dudes. I'm also going to brag on my good friend Joel, our good friend Joel, friend of the pod, friend, whatever you want to call him. He hits a hole in one yesterday. Hits a hole in one. It was freaking awesome. Watching a hole in one's really cool. It's all I can talk about for the next weeks, coming weeks. I've also seen 2 in a year and 4 months, which is incredible. Never hit one. It's got to be really cool because it's cool to watch one. So the guys in front of us, they're on the tee box. They don't really react, which I wasn't paying attention to them, but my brother said he saw them after we yelled and celebrated on the tee box. I wasn't even thinking about them. So we go up to the green. Joel gets his ball out of the hole. They waited patiently. They saw him get the ball out of the hole and then started cheering. And I was like, that they waited on the tee box to cheer for him. I was like, dudes rock.
Heck yeah.
Dudes.
Yeah,
rock.
just dudes cheering for dudes. Yeah. Awesome.
That's what we do. We just uplift. Shout out to Joel hole in one. Everyone,
I love that you
just tweet at me and say congrats, Joel. And I'll forward it to him.
I love that you called me and he was just like, I got a hole in one, just so nonchalant. I was like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I would have been. He was excited, but he definitely has a different set of emotions than I do.
Yeah, for sure.
He does have a funny video of him getting the ball out of the hole and he can't get it out because his hand is shaking so much. He has to he has to reach in and around the flag stick 4 or 5 times to get it. It's awesome. Yeah, dudes rock. But you know who doesn't rock? Just the instant. I mean, we've talked about it I don't know where you want to go exactly with talking football, but let's talk conference realignment because I guess it all kind of culminated on Friday.
Yeah.
With a bunch of board meetings and all that, people voting to go where. I'm going to be 100% honest. I still don't know how everything aligns because I'm a little confused. But Pac-12 is just falling apart. And I don't know. It's very funny. The Pac-12 also, I saw someone tweet that the Pac-12 died when they didn't play the 2020 season. The Pac-12 has been dead for years. I feel like I'm the only one who fully appreciates in my Twitter line Pac-12 after dark. I'm pretty much the only one tweeting at games at that time of night. It's very disappointing. I feel like I'm on an island. But
we can have a Viking funeral for them.
We can.
For the Pac-12. I just think, it'd be really cool if we just did it in my pool out here.
Raven might be pissed, but I'm down.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's. It is. I assume we still get midnight kickoffs. I hope we do, because those teams are still in that time zone, right? So we get them. Big 12 after dark, Big 10 after dark.
Yeah, I guess whenever they play their home games. I just don't know. I just don't understand how it's going to work. It just seems like everybody's like, hey, let's make the most amount of money we can and we'll figure out logistics later.
Yeah, and I was telling someone I don't foresee. I think with everything, the landscape, everything changing, because a lot of people have concerns for the sports that play midweek games or the sports that don't make money that are just a cost to the athletic programs, and I do think that's a concern. But I think in the next few years, those sports are going to be I'm sure there'll still be teams within the SEC because of just the way it's set up currently, but it may change where those conferences aren't necessarily going to align.
Well, right, because yeah, you get 18 football programs, and everybody's looking at that, but there's not. I think there's 17 women's soccer programs, or maybe softball programs. There's 10 or 11 men's soccer programs. So I mean, like nothing. It doesn't align sports wise for all
Right.
that to make sense.
And that's in the Big Ten currently, or what? What
So
conference?
that's with that's with the Pac-12 moving to the Big, or those schools moving to the Big Ten. That's
Okay.
what those numbers look like. So
Gotcha. So yeah, I foresee that obviously I think that at least 1 year, maybe more, of that period exists where travel is just ridiculous, and it's not going to be easy. But I think those shifts happen, and essentially each sport is kind of responsible for forming their own conference within the NCAA. And I don't see a problem with that anyways. I think football, for so many reasons, needs to be in its own category because, like, I don't think, we've talked about this, and I saw Josh Pate finally say it, how it's dumb that so many schools compete for the college football playoff. Power 5, Group 5 needs to be their own thing. But in soccer, baseball, softball, that's not necessarily true because smaller schools have the ability to compete. I mean, Coastal Carolina, 2016, right, won the College World Series. So yeah, they are behind in a sense, but they can compete. So I don't think it's necessary for those schools to make that move. Whereas in football, it's a different animal. Just it's a different sport. The funding's different. It should be Group of 5, Power 5. Bingo.
yeah,
Done.
yeah. The physicality aspect is the biggest difference.
Yeah.
there.
So
But yeah, Oral Roberts made it to the College World Series this year.
yeah, bingo. Great example. So I do foresee a change happening, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we've talked about this. This is essentially the cable versus streaming issue with like they're eventually going to recreate the NCAA.
Yeah, because you're going to have 20 teams per conference, and then you're basically going to make sections of that conference. So you're basically just going to make divisions again,
based on geography.
Which is going to be a conference pretty much.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a recreation, and I don't see a problem with that necessarily. I do kind of feel bad for the Pac-12 schools in the sense of I don't think they should be making as much money as the Big Ten or the SEC at media rights because of their well, I shouldn't say that because they do have some big markets, but in that part of the country, those markets are often taken over by NFL or MLB or things like that. That makes it a little bit harder. But at the same time, those markets are there. They can be captured. So I still don't think it should quite be SEC money or Big Ten money, but more money. And because of the leadership of the last several years, that's not there. And I think that's that's bad for them. So I don't blame them for jumping ship at all. Now I don't know if the answer is to like completely break up like this because you are going to lose some rivalries. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but I don't blame them. If the money's out there for you to have and you're not getting it, why would you not get it?
Well, and especially like these other teams are making that money that you're competing with in the grand scheme of things to win a national championship. They have those resources. They have that money. You don't. You want to get that money. You have a chance to do it. Yeah, you're probably going to do it. And I also think it took one team in the Pac-12 to say, yeah, we're gone. And everybody's like, maybe we could do that too. And now you're stuck with 4 teams left, which, I mean, I guess the Pac-12 just isn't going to be a thing anymore. I don't know if those teams go to the Mountain West or some go to the Big 12. Maybe the Big 10 just takes a couple more teams and just makes it even 20. I don't know.
I feel like you do got to go even 20 now. I think, honestly, even 20 is probably the best part. And then you go, like we were talking about, you realign and you go 10.
You go East-West. Yeah.
You go East-West, and then those teams play for a championship. I don't know, but
well, I heard it like kind of explained to me like the NFL, where you have the NFC East, NFC South. You just kind of have that, and all those teams. There's 2 basically sides of it, and there's one side ends up playing 16 teams go to the playoff, and no one has a big issue with that. So if you are shrinking the
12, right?
Is it 12?
College football playoffs extended to 12, I believe.
Right.
Skipped 8.
Yes, I'm saying. Well, yeah, it's stupid, but I'm saying like we could do 16, and 16 doesn't sound so crazy when you're shrinking the amount of teams that can compete for it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't have a problem with that. I think 12. I mean, we're going to play obviously a few years at 12. I mean, I don't know how I don't know what the Big Ten looks like, because they're not going to be happy that they're essentially, and I'm not saying they should have more spots, but they're not going to be happy in the grand scheme of things where they're beating each other up, quote unquote, and they don't have as many teams able to compete for the college football playoff at this point, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
SEC is kind of in that same spot though now. They just went to 16 teams. So they're in that same, so they're going to be for more expansion too.
Right. I do want to see like how many kids it impacts, like that whole traveling aspect of it. Because I mean, SEC, you got to travel a little bit, but it's kind of in that section of the Southeast. It's not across the country.
You're not making it as big. You're not growing as much as they are. You're already in Texas,
right?
And then Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma is Texas. Sorry, Oklahoma. You are Texas.
So I mean, if a kid's looking at the SEC or the Big Ten, is that a huge point in recruiting? Is like, hey, you come here and you don't have to like go all the way across the country to play one game, come all the way back. And especially a baseball player, you're in California, you got to go all the way to Ohio State. The next, you come home that week to play a midweek game, and you go back to Michigan State to play. I mean, that just seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, it does. I think from a traveling standpoint, it's much more about, hey, your parents can come see you play. I don't think traveling is going to be as big of a contention as for the students. I don't think, like, from a purely athletic standpoint.
Well, and probably not for like recruiting, but does that make somebody want to enter the transfer portal that probably wasn't thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, potentially.
Man, I'm tired of being on a plane for 20 hours of the week.
Yeah, potentially. It may also change that 4 p.m. end time or whatever for baseball. Might miss a lot of Sunday games.
Yeah.
You now have a 6-hour flight home.
And I don't know how they'll do the midweek games, but, do they kind of plan it to where, hey, you'll play Michigan State, Ohio State away, and then you go back and you'll play USC, UCLA, and Washington. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen how they discuss how they've talked about it, and I mean, I think too they'll try to match up. From my understanding, the conference will essentially be responsible for either like chartering flights, and they'll try to combine teams traveling from the same area, and to help. But that really just cuts down on cost. That doesn't fix the actual travel issue. That's right. It's just going to naturally exist. It was funny. I was looking at Arizona State's travel schedule now in the Big 12, and their closest school is Arizona, like an hour and 40-minute drive, something like that. And then the next closest one is like a 5-hour plane ride or something like that. Which, I mean, in the pack, they had similar, because Arizona's kind of excluded from, it's just in a weird part. But, I mean, they still had, like, LA wasn't super far away. It was like a 6-hour drive, I think. But it is interesting to see like, they jump from an hour and 40-minute trip. They'll play them to, I mean, they're traveling to West Virginia.
Yeah, New York.
Yeah. Wait, Big 12. Who's in New York?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Big 10. Sorry.
No, Arizona's in Big 12, right? Am I crazy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You're right. I was like, oh gosh. I seriously has been confused because on Friday you had Oregon wasn't going to join, and then 4 hours later Oregon is going to join. Well, sorry, in the morning it was like it's going to be unanimous vote. They're joining the Big 10, and then 10 a.m., 9 a.m. they're not joining, and by noon again they were joining it. I was very confused.
Yeah, I didn't understand it at all.
But I think Oregon probably was too, so it's all good.
But if you're looking at it from a college football aspect, I mean, the Pac-12 as a fan of those teams. Number one, you're not a big fan because you got to travel across the country to see an away game. But your road to the playoff gets a lot harder. A lot. Or national championship. They're going to probably expand the college football playoff again. And I think as soon as those teams, like said, they're going to the Big Ten, the commissioner of the NCAA was just like, yeah, we probably need to look at the college football playoff again.
Right. Yeah, again, it's going to be an overhaul, I think, of the entire system here in the next 5 years. It has to be, I think. This doesn't make sense now. The college football landscape has drastically changed in the last 48 hours. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be a massive overhaul that I don't know if anyone's really prepared for. The Pac-12 was obviously not prepared for everyone jumping ship.
Well, it's going to kind of be funny a little bit if these 4 teams that are left just join the Mountain West, and they're basically like another Pac-12, pretty much. It'd be Pac-16, I guess. There'd be 16 teams, but
Right, but I mean, they're gonna like the problem with that. I think, and I don't see a split for happen like anytime soon happening in the group of 5 and Power 5. But I think they would, if I am an AD or anyone involved, I would be cautious about joining the Mountain West, because then which maybe they're okay with if it does split. Maybe they're okay with being in that lower division, but you are no longer a Power 5 team potentially if you go to the Mountain West. Like, you should be looking for other landing locale. Is the ACC who's in trouble? Do you need to add teams? We'll come out there. Like, I would be very careful about joining a group of 5 conference right now.
But I mean, what considers it a group of 5? If we're just getting rid of
traditional Power 5, and a group of 5 is what will happen right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, when the Pac-12 is no more, could the Mountain West just be another Power 5 team or Power 5 conference?
No.
I mean, because
no.
I mean, there wouldn't be if there Power 5. There's no 5 anymore.
Right, there's not. But the Mountain West, when you look at the entire landscape of the conference, those schools, as a total, those schools don't have the resources.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what you're giving up. You're like, do you want the paycheck or do you want to be competitive in sports?
Right.
I mean, which one is more important to you is what you're kind of making that decision based on.
Yep. But I mean, I
what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
Maybe depends on the school I'm at.
Or position, like your AD, you're like sports. We're gonna be more competitive in sports, right?
Depends. Where am I at? Like, what if
Let's
I'm at
Cal?
Cal, I probably take competitive. Stanford, I probably take the paycheck.
Stanford probably will be. They seem like they'd just be an independent team, right?
They probably should take that route. But if I'm Stanford, our vision isn't to be good at sports, so why not just make as much money as possible?
Yeah,
is my point of view. But as a competitive person, yeah, I'm probably just going to be competitive.
Yeah, they could probably just get in on that NBC action with Notre Dame and just be separate. I feel like they want to be that anyway.
If I'm Stanford too, I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I'll just say we'll play all away games, because the crowds have been embarrassing. Same for a lot of schools out in the Pac-12 right now. And I'll get the old joke. I mean, there's a lot more things to do in LA on a Saturday. College football, it's awesome.
Yeah, like dying.
If you can't get butts in the seats for college football, you're doing something wrong. Like, minor league teams can sell out stadiums in any part of the country. Have Star Wars night, for God's sakes. Get the kids there. Like, if there are people in LA that don't want to bring their kids to your games, it's not because there's more fun things to do. It's because you suck and you're boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like UCLA or USC is kind of. Do you think they're just trying to capture more of an audience? Just, hey, let's play on the East Coast, and some of those fans will actually like watch some of our games.
I think USC for them, it's about which they look to be good and competitive again. USC, I think, is if we want to fill up our stadium, we have to have good quality opponents in our stadium, because they had no problem selling it when they were good. Right. And then when they were bad, the conference was bad. It was a storm of just pitifulness. You see those shots of the empty stadiums. Because this year, I don't remember really seeing nothing stood out to me at USC as, wow, there's no one there.
I just love how Lincoln Riley kind of dipped out of Oklahoma because he's going to join the SEC, and then the school turns around and joins the Big Ten.
If I'm Lincoln Riley, I'd rather be in the Big Ten.
Oh, 100%. But
that's a win for him.
But he wouldn't make the college football playoff in the Big Ten every year if there was just 4 teams in that playoff. No.
Correct. No, he wouldn't. No, not at all.
He could even make it in the Pac-10.
Pac-12, yeah.
Pac-12, yeah.
Whoa. Come on, respect it.
Yeah.
No, it's
Pac-10 at heart.
That's true. Maybe they just try to get to 10 again. Hey, sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards.
Yeah, you got 6 more to go.
You got to build up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't foresee that, like, the landscape is changing. I don't foresee it as a bad thing. I think it can be a good thing. A lot of people talking mad about the ADs that want to go make better money, blah, 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 blah. This isn't the school's faults that this is happening. This is the Pac-12's fault. This is the leadership of the Pac-12's fault that this is happening. Same as the ACC. You have the ACC leaving because those schools are not making what they should be making. It's not the school's faults. And you can't fault them. Like, at the end of the day, their goal as athletic directors, they're not educators. They have to make money for the athletic program. They have to find ways to upgrade facilities. They have to find ways to pay the best coaches. They have to find ways to compete at the highest level, and money is the name of the game. If an AD is not making money, they're going to get fired unless they're winning games, but winning games comes with making money. Right. So
they go hand in hand.
The end of the day, they have to find a way to make money.
Yeah. I love how the Florida State AD was just like, it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of, or it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how we're going to do it.
Was that the AD that said that?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that. I mean, which is, I think, kind of interesting because I think the ACC has the ability to be a competitive conference. They have the ability to make that money. They have a large market as well, going all the way up to New York. So that comment's interesting to me. I wonder where they want to land. Do they want to get to the SEC? I would not if I was Florida State.
They see that, which Florida State, it just baffles me how they see themselves as just this program on a pedestal higher than everybody. But they see they're self-competitive right now, and they want to cash in on that change. They see Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan and all those teams that they're supposed to be competing with for a national title, and the rest of the ACC isn't at that point. So yeah, they're looking to leave, which I don't necessarily disagree. But did you also see?
It's not entirely true. The only team that's held up the ACC for the last 8 years has been Clemson.
That's true. Yeah.
They would be forgotten about.
They'd probably be a Group 5 by now.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you see where Florida State is also hiring a private equity company to run them?
Interesting. No, I did not see this.
Yeah. So okay. I forget who it is.
I wouldn't know it if you said it. So
it's like JP Morgan.
I would know it. Okay. I'm dumb. I don't know exactly what a private equity does other than essentially, I think, try to make your money more money.
Yeah, I think of it as like a Michael Scott paper company.
Yeah.
They just try to suck I forget what show it is, but it's like basically they buy stuff and then sell it for parts, but the parts are more expensive than what they're going to make if they just sold it as a whole. So I feel like that's what private equity companies probably do.
Okay. All right. One comment here. How's Tennessee's defense looking? We'll get to that. We'll answer that question here in a minute. Hang with us. Rumor has it that 12-team playoff may not happen because of the fallout in the Pac-12. I mean, maybe not the 12. They'll expand it. I don't think they'll get smaller. I just don't foresee that happening. I don't think it can happen. I think for the betterment of the game and to move on. And
there's not going to be 6 conference bids, automatic bids. There's not going to be 6.
But that wasn't necessarily going to happen anyways, right?
I thought it was 6.
How would it be 6 if there's 5? Power 5. They were going to give the 6 to the one group of 5?
Yeah, I think group 5.
Oh, so how would that happen? What conference would get that bid?
I don't remember. I thought that's what I read.
I'll see what I can find.
I thought it was 6 auto bids. But yeah, maybe the top group 5.
So the highest ranked group of 5?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Aaron Yak says, do y'all not miss bowls and polls college football? Yeah, I just think it was more kind of streamlined. I don't think it was, but I mean, whatever.
The thing is, like,
it doesn't really change anything for Tennessee.
I think people, with the bowl games are always going to be what bowl games were. I can't remember who posted it. They said, I knew someone who played at Tennessee like in the late 90s. I'm going to take my dog out. He's whining. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just think it was kind of. I think we hated the poll, like the BCS, just because it was kind of up to a computer to decide the two best teams to get to the college. I think there's more than two teams that deserve to play for that right for national championship. You get somebody left out every single year, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think for me, like at this point, I'm like, I think 2's better than 4 at this point. But I'm also like, you could also go to 8, 12, whatever, and I think it's better than 2. 4 just kind of felt dumb to me. So I don't know. And bowl games though are what bowl games were. That's what I was saying. Is like players have always seen it kind of as a vacation, and they get to go and compete. So I don't know. I don't necessarily. I think it's time to change it. I don't think this necessarily does. It's like saying, like with the expansion, it's like saying the NFL regular season is meaningless, and that's just not true.
Yeah. We should say it's meaningless.
We should. It's not, but it's not. It's all about the money now.
I feel like it always has been.
Yeah, it's not. That's not like it's.
But it's more in front of you now because players are making money, and then it does seem like every decision is made on money, and maybe it didn't seem like that before. But yeah, money trumps it all.
Yeah, it's not like that just changed this year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like that's been the way of college football for a while, pretty much since TV got involved.
Yeah.
So, like, that's not brand new to the game, that it's all about money. It's like I think what you said, it's just more prevalent. And I mean, part of it is this arms race of facilities that it has become more prevalent, and people need those TV deals to get better because that's where they make a lot of their money. And I mean, I hate to like be the bearer of bad news. That's part of like the SEC's fault.
Yeah.
To go and build these facilities, to do what they've done before everyone else. People wanted to keep up. People wanted to recruit.
It's what you said, keep up. Because like you see it in every sport. It's like with these max contracts, you see this ungodly amount of money put on this player. And then the next player that's up for that same contract, adjacent, that team has to top it. And it's with coaches too. You get a really high paid coach, a really good coach, you have to pay them what they're worth. And
right.
If, 4 or 5 coaches in front of them are making this amount of money and that coach is consistently beating them every single year, you have to pay them more.
Yeah. It has been, I mean, it's been about money for a while, and it's not, now other conferences see how it can be made. They want the TV rights deals, the networks, the SEC network, ACC network, the Pac-12 network is epic failure because it just was not structured well, but it shouldn't have been. It absolutely shouldn't have been. So yeah, it's not brand new. Like I think it's just silly to pretend it's brand new. Yeah. Prior to the facilities arms race, it was about who could pay the players the most under the table. Mm-hmm. Players have been getting paid in college for a long time. There's some good 30 for 30s on if you want to. I mean, when did SMU happen, guys? Like that wasn't in the early 2000s.
Oh, Miami hasn't been good since they kind of got caught doing that.
No, and yeah, for sure. And yes, like this all came down to when you really saw money start to kind of like you said, kind of be in front of you and take the forefront is TV rights deals. Mm-hmm. When TV rights deals started getting sold to networks, that's when money came to the forefront.
Yep.
And it's always been in the game. It wasn't like, oh, money's here finally. Hey, athletic departments have been making money hand over fist for a long, long time. But the TV rights deal has just accelerated it very, very fast.
Yep.
All right. We'll get to some of these questions, comments when we get to questions. We need to talk about LSU. I'm going to let you set the context and let this stupid dog back in.
Okay. All right. So October 8th, it is a noon Eastern time kickoff, 11 a.m. local time in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Tennessee is a 2.5-point favorite. 102,321 people showed up to this one. It was hot, really hot. Let's see if I can find the degrees. I don't think I have that in here. But yeah, 2 top 25 opponents. Tennessee's ranked number 8th, LSU number 25. LSU is 4-1 coming into this game, and Tennessee is 4-0. And yeah, from the opening kickoff, it was all Tennessee.
Was it not crazy for you to hear, and I didn't fact check this, but they mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that this was the first time both teams were ranked outside of an SEC championship matchup?
I think playing each other, right?
That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Like, first time they played each other,
Since
both
07.
ranked.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems wild. I think Caleb froze up on us a little bit. We'll get him back in a second. But yeah, Tennessee from the opening kickoff does a little pooch kick and just hits LSU player right in the perfect spot, bounces right to Tennessee's coverage team, the guy on the outside, and he recovers it in bounds. And Tennessee just runs the ball a couple times. I think they threw it to Ramel Keaton once, and Jabari Small punches it in, which Jabari Small had a heck of a game in this one. I don't know what his career high actually is, but I feel like this game has to be close. 22 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Brew McCoy also had a big game, 7 receptions, 140 yards. He had like 2 plays that I thought he was gone. Just couldn't break that last tackle. But, man, this game was fun. You had some more stops on 4th down. Brian Kelly just straight out told the reporter at halftime that he got outcoached, and I thought that was extremely fair. I love the honesty because that was absolutely true. I mean, going forward on 4th and 4 on your 13-yard line was tough to see, and Tennessee gets the stop on there. I think Booty tries to get the football out there and couldn't get it, and Tennessee stops him, goes down and kicks a field goal, makes it 10-0. And I think the next possession, or I think it was in the second quarter, they try to go for it on 4th down 3 times, 4 times I think, and they were 1 for 4. You back?
Sorry about that. Yeah. So I thought they said the first time both were ranked outside of the SEC championship game. The first time that the two teams have met and both been ranked, not in an SEC championship game.
Oh, okay. I just heard the SEC. The first time since 07. But yeah, I don't know about.
That's not crazy then. If it's just since 07, we've only met them in what 2011, no 2010, and 2017. Since then, that's just 2 games. That would be okay.
Yeah,
that's a dumb stat then. If that was the stat,
maybe it was the.
But ever seems insane too.
Yeah, that does.
Like ever seems too insane. The other one seems so dumb, I don't know why they said it. I don't know. All right.
So LSU was 0 for 3 in 4th down attempts.
Which is hilarious. And they all came at just the dumbest times. That's what's funny, is like we talked about how they seem to kind of like seem to do a Florida where they tried to grab momentum, but they were just dumb. Like that one, I loved it. That one at the end of the half. I mean, just how dumb was that 4th down attempt? 4th and 10.
Yeah, I don't like right before the half. I mean, and like that's the time where you can't give up a sack, but it's like, why are you just punt it away?
Punt it away. You're at I think it was like the 48-yard line.
Yeah.
They had to throw it deep so Tennessee could blitz. Like it wasn't like they could just dump it off over short and try to get the first down. Tennessee could send the house there, and they did.
Yeah. Right.
Well, really, I think they just rushed 5. They didn't even send the house.
Yeah, but that defensive line played incredible in this game.
They did.
Latrell Bumpus.
Joshua Josephs.
That
one blitz he had in the first quarter that he just went on. I mean, his change of pace on that little twist. Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
That excites me.
Just dude being a dude. Just running by an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the defensive line played incredible. Byron Young played well. Tyler Barron, Latrell Bumpus, Dominic Bailey, Joshua Josephs, kind of everybody pretty much flashed.
Right.
That front seven played really well. Jaden Daniels was their leading rusher, and he had 38 yards on 16 carries. So just no running room at all for them. And part of that was because, Jaden Daniels threw 45 times because they were down the entire time. But I feel like LSU just rushed when they're only down 10. Like, I feel like they were just like, oh, crap. Like, and maybe it was because, like, Tennessee's offense puts that much pressure on you when you're down. It's like, this is the number one offense in the country. We can't just, like, let this keep going like this.
Yeah. I think that was kind of what we talked about last week, where that's why you're going to see teams throw so much that, like, it is that much pressure. Like, you have to respond quickly. It's hard to just chip away at Tennessee because that takes stops, and it's hard to stop Tennessee's offense.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they were behind the 8 ball. Also, they should have been down, 14 really, because D. Williams, love you, D, you got tripped up by a punter, my friend. You got tripped up by a punter.
Yeah.
Excellent return, but you got tripped up by a punter. But, yeah, I think it does just put that much pressure on him, and you're going to see –
that was his season debut, too.
Yeah, first punt return ever.
Yep.
And beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know why it took that long for him to get on the field, but whatever.
It happened, baby.
Yep.
It happened.
I'm excited for him this season. I think that's a huge underrated part of this team is they have a dangerous returner. So if the defense can just get a few stops, he's going to put the offense in position to get on the board pretty quickly.
Right. Another thing that, Dylan Sampson's fumble recovery was awesome. I'm also glad he recovered that fumble because it was his fault. He almost got the first down. He was a yard or two away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, kind of just felt like it was just the storybook of that game in one play where no matter what LSU did well, Tennessee responded with just a massive knockout punch, it seemed.
Yeah, because if Dylan Sampson just falls on that ball, Tennessee probably punts.
Right.
But they end up going for it on 4th and 2. They had a little shovel pass to Princeton Fant, and I think it ended in a field goal, which, that was huge. Even though looking at it now, you probably didn't need that 3 points, but it was just another little force on the throat of LSU there.
Right. I don't have the drive by drive pulled up in front of me because I had to cut out the internet to hopefully hang on for this podcast. Was it a fourth down conversion, or was it a recovered fumble next play? Tennessee just, again, knockout punch with the touchdown to Hyatt.
Yeah, it was the let's see. I can't remember which one it was.
Either way, it was a turnover of some sort.
It was the it was a turnover on downs. Yeah, it was the Aaron Beasley stop.
Okay. I don't know what that means, Joey. I have internet on this computer. It's my other computer that is now without internet to try to hang on. This one does have internet, but I'm glad to know. I don't know if that means I'll look good or not, but
yeah, your picture looks good.
All right, cool. Oh, my picture. All right. Well, thanks, man. I don't know where I was going now, but
yeah, you're talking about that play to Hyatt. That was just hey, we got the momentum, take a shot play, and let's shove it right down your throat.
Yeah. And it is funny that LSU's best drive was like a 94-yard drive. That was kind of crazy. I don't know. Like, you kind of, in the stands, I remember kind of thinking like, oh no. They were down big still, but you're like, uh-oh, their offense may have pieced something together. Mm-hmm. And Tennessee just responds. And I want to know kind of, again, it's going to kind of going back into like Hooker. When did Hooker turn it around? When did this defense really start to struggle? Next week's kind of a anomaly in the sense that you played one of the best players in college football. So I'm not going to like harshly grade them the next episode, next watch against Alabama. But I'm kind of interested to see where it goes the rest of the season. Also, I'm sorry to just absolutely hate someone, but I got to get fired up. Kamal Hadden is a liability on liability on liability. If he doesn't make a bad play, he's going to throw punches. He's going to commit pass interference or holding or something. Get him off the field. Get him off the field. Keep him on the bench. Pull his freaking scholarship for all I care. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was not a great game. He did have 8 tackles, but it was because he was playing off and giving up catches is the reason he had 8 tackles. Yeah, it just
They're probably
good
potentially a touchdown too if that one, I think it was to Butte that got dropped. That hit him in the it was a little behind him, but hit him in the hands.
Yeah. I think this was it wasn't the first game where you thought this secondary was pretty bad because Pittsburgh kind of had some success. Florida had a lot of success. And I think a lot of it is just like we didn't give up much running the ball, so they feel like they have to pass. And I think that is a weak spot. But it also like if you don't have a great quarterback, pretty bad because I think it can hurt you pretty quickly, and Tennessee's going to jump on you, and it's going to be hard to come back from.
Oh, I mean, they had their way with Will Levis. I mean, just had their way with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's going to be a not suitable for work warning when we get to that episode.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And I think to be fair to the secondary as a whole, like you said, they are just going to be tested every game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be kind of a product of it. But my God, don't give up 15-yard penalties. Quit gifting first downs. And there seemed like one player that was responsible for it in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't great. Christian Charles, he didn't have a great game either.
No, he didn't.
But I think I did how you like how Dylan, like it was just like little plays like the Dylan Sampson one that you mentioned. Squirrel White had a one-headed catch on a 1-yard third down reception.
That was incredible. It was an incredible play, and it was 1 yard.
Yeah. And D. Williams had a big play. It was just like a little bit of everybody just kind of contributing, and then you had your guys like Brew McCoy, Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt to just kind of put this one out of reach.
Yeah, for sure. Also, the second half script coming out of the halftime. I mean, what a drive, dude.
Yep.
What a drive. I don't remember. Butch Jones had it every once in a while, but it seems like Josh Heupel. The first drive's always going to. It's almost always. I shouldn't say always. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be well put together.
Well, on Tennessee's first drive, I mean, it was only 27 yards, but they had it was 1st and 10. It was 2nd and 3, 1st and 10. It was 1st and goal, 2nd and goal at the 2, 1st and goal at LSU 1. I mean, it was just first down after first down after first down Tennessee got.
Yep.
And that's kind of how that drive at the end of or the start of the second half was too.
Right. And I don't you talked about the defensive line playing really good. The offensive line played really good against a really good defensive line. I mean, BJ Ojulari was non-existent in this game.
Mm-hmm.
They played really well.
If you just watch Darnell Wright a couple of plays, I know it's tough to like go back and watch offensive linemen. It's just not the most interesting thing to do. But there was one where they tried the same twist that Tennessee did with Joshua Josephs, and the tackle comes out to him, and like the guard stops him, and the center stops the end. The guard stops him, and he literally just shoves the tackle with one arm and just falls straight to the ground, and Jerome Carver just laid him. It was awesome.
Yeah, very good game by the offensive line. Also, the Ramel Keaton non-targeting that they called on the field and came back to. I don't know what targeting is. And the announcer's like, that's a great no call.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. They talk about all these. Sure, he didn't hit him with the crown of his helmet, but he launched into his head. I thought targeting just needed one piece of it. Am I crazy? I feel like that's what we've always been told.
Yeah, ducking your head
to the head or neck area.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. And it's also dumb that I don't want teams to be penalized when you can go back and review fouls, but you can't go back and review the offensive pass interference they called. So why do those offsetting penalties all of a sudden become non-offsetting?
I don't know. I don't understand targeting. I don't understand why it's an ejection. I don't understand why we have to review it. If they think it's targeting, it should be a 15-yard penalty, and if they miss it, sorry, move on.
I just don't understand that one. I really don't. I mean, I watched it on review at the state. I watched it live, thought it was targeting. Watched it on review.
And knocked his helmet clean off.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
That's the exact.
Joey, look up the targeting rule and just copy and paste it, and let's read it. Like, let's just read it word
exact,
for word.
like,
just kidding. It's probably super long. Don't do that.
That's the exact like stuff you don't want to happen.
Right.
Like, you don't want head-to-head contact that can cause injury. It knocked Keaton's helmet completely off. So, and they're like, clean. That doesn't make any sense.
He didn't launch with the crown of his helmet.
Yeah.
Okay. I still don't. That's one piece of the targeting.
I think if Jalen Reeves-Maven just coming on that Appalachian State punt.
That play pisses me because that's essentially the same thing as Keaton. God drops down, except Jalen Reeves-Maven led with his face mask. Like, perfect tackle. Yeah. He saw it the whole way.
But it was helmet to helmet.
Okay. It's insane. Absolutely insane.
I don't really have a lot else for this game.
Watching the LSU fans pour out with 2:13 left in the third quarter was – I mean, I remember watching it live, and it was sweet, but to get the shots of them actually leaving, like you saw it emptying out, to get shots of them leaving through the tunnel,
Yeah, and it was so much better that we got to witness this in person. I'm so glad we went. Because, we always wanted to go to LSU, but it was only, we're booking this trip. We're like,
may not win.
Yeah.
Me and Jonathan were talking about it yesterday because, I was trying to talk him into another away game. He said he'll never go to another one after South Carolina, which, I get. He feels like it was his fault. I get it. We carry the blame here. But I was like, you also that's part of it. You gotta go in thinking you're gonna lose. I will be honest. I did not think we were going to win that game. I shouldn't say that. I just kind of in the disbelief. I didn't think I would get to see Tennessee beat a team like LSU on the road. That's kind of my thought.
Yeah, hated the 2.5 spread favored for Tennessee. I did not like that at all.
They were also 6-0 at 11 a.m. games. So if LSU fans want to sit here and complain, if it was a night game, you were 6-0 in 11 a.m. games. Get out of here. Get out of here with that mess. Also, I should have marked it down at one point. I don't think I did. There was one, I think it was actually when Kamal Hadden committed a pass interference. It got really loud in that stadium. You had the ability to be loud. You just got your ass whooped and you were quiet the whole time.
Yeah, you had a chance to make it a one-possession game and refused to do that, and Tennessee made you pay for it. And that was kind of all she wrote. As soon as that play happens where we get a stop on 4th down and throw it to Hyatt to make it, 20 to –
would have been 27, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like that lead was a lot more than that.
Yeah. Also, Jabari Small played really well this game. I don't know if we mentioned that.
I mentioned it when you were going off that I don't know what his career high is, but I feel like this has to be up there.
Right. Shout out to Jabari Small because Jalen Wright has been your leading rusher every game until then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which he also had a fumble in this game. Did go out of bounds, but he had a fumble.
Yeah.
Hey, it don't matter if it's not recovered by the opposing team. You're good, baby.
Right.
It doesn't get written down as a turnover, so you're fine.
Right. All right. Anything else?
I think that's it for LSU, man. Other than, I guess this was the week of blowouts in college football. You had Texas take it to Oklahoma. Can't remember who else is this game. This was the night of the Alabama A&M game that got the night slot, which I guess ended up being a good game. But who wanted to see A&M and Alabama play it close? I guess we did. I would have loved to see Alabama lose, but
Haynes King and Jalen Milroe play.
Just go toe to toe, baby.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Which it ended up not being. No, it was Haynes. Was it Haynes King? I feel like it was somebody else.
I don't remember who the quarterback was for A&M for the bulk of last year.
It was a lot of different people. That's who it was. But I do love how the reporter after this game was just like, Hendon, like, what do you think the environment's going to be hostile next week when Bama comes to town? He's like, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good comment. He was right.
He was right.
He nailed it.
Yep.
Nailed it. That was a great environment. Shout out to Hendon Hooker for making it a great environment.
Yeah, psychic.
Fun times in Baton Rouge, fun times in Knoxville.
Yep.
I got to take my shirt off. Thought about doing it again on the rewatch, but I slowed down.
Yeah. Then we got some good baseball news.
Yeah.
Last night. Last night on a Saturday night. Come on, Zane. It's cool. We got it out. Zane Denton is returning to Tennessee. Tennessee's hero this past season. He hit 269. Nice. 16 home runs. Led the team with 59 RBIs. Had the huge home run against Clemson. That ended up going into extra innings. Tennessee ended up winning that game. And then had a big home run in the rubber match against Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. And he just kind of felt like, getting him from Alabama was huge. He's a big bat, a switch hitter, can, play a good third base, and can kind of be like any spot in that order. And, he just kind of was just Mr. Consistent throughout the year, not too high, not too low, and ended up with 16 home runs, which is quite a bit for a guy that's not like huge in stature.
Right.
And did some from the right hand side, did some from the left hand side, but no one's bigger than that home run against Clemson. So good to have him back, and I think Tennessee is just kind of try to figure out what happens in the infield. You get Billy Amick from Clemson. You return Christian Moore. Don't know who your shortstop is at this point. I know they got a JUCO guy that they really like. But kind of all your shortstops have gone to the transfer portal. So
right.
Not really sure. I guess they'll just figure that out. But in terms of third base, I think you got a sure thing in Zane Denton. But if you really like Billy Amick playing that position, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Zane Denton can play second. Christian Moore has played outfield for Team USA this summer. So, I think he could be fine at that position.
Right.
But, again, just going to try to figure it out. Billy Amick could also play first, so I don't know what you want to – Blake Burke DH or somebody can DH. I don't know. Again, it's a good problem to have, but you got a lot of talent in that infield, so we'll see kind of how it works out throughout.
You have a lot of talent in the outfield too. That's a kind of interesting piece about Christian Moore as well. Yeah. That would be, I don't know. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Good to have Zane back though.
Yeah, Zane train, baby.
Betting on himself, unlike his former coach.
Yeah, I'm sure Taylor Swift is pumped about it too. So,
yeah, stays close to Nashville.
Yep. We got some questions. Let's go ahead and get to those. A lot of those football. So Heath Phillips says there's a team in the preseason top 5 every year that has a horrible season. Last year was Texas A&M. Who is this team this year? That team this year? So who's
Georgia? Go ahead and take this, Kirby. You can play in the locker room.
Okay.
No, it's not Georgia. I'm sorry. I just feel like any chance we can get to motivate that team. They really need it. They're underdogs pretty often, so they definitely need bulletin board material. Are you confident? Like your pick, are you going to be confident about it?
No.
Okay. Just curious.
I gotta think. There's a couple teams that I feel like aren't as good as what their ranking looks like. I think Alabama is one of those teams. I know it's stupid. I don't know why I'm saying it because now it's not going to happen. But I just think like the quarterback situation is not where you want it to be. When you're willing to go get a transfer that wasn't even that great at another school to try to be your starter, I
Yeah.
just think that's probably told you a lot of what the staff thinks of their quarterback situation.
Right.
But that's just a stupid one to say, though. Florida State, I feel like, is a good one. I just feel like they shouldn't be as good.
Are they in the top 25 of any polls? Or the top 5, I mean?
They're seventh in this
Okay.
one, which close, I guess.
Man, I think LSU is an interesting preseason top 25. I know they finished the year strong, but just coming off this rewatch, you talked about that FSU game. They lost 4 games last year. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're a top 5 team.
I don't really know what they're – I know B.J. Ojolari's gone, so that's a huge loss. Harold Perkins is still there. Keyshawn Booty's gone. They do have Malik Neighbors. I don't even really know. John Emery, I guess, is still there. Maybe. Jaden Daniels, like, I'll give him credit. I thought he was good last year, but he was nothing special at Arizona State.
No. And I don't think he's necessarily special at LSU either.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know what to think of LSU. That's probably a good one too. That is having.
I think they benefited from a poor West last year to play in the SEC championship game.
Yeah. Well,
I think they're in a situation.
Ohio State looks like they got a new quarterback.
Yeah, I think Ohio State benefits from playing in the Big Ten though. Kind of opposite of that, and I think LSU kind of like Tennessee. Alabama's probably going to look different this year being in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
That game went into overtime.
I think I'm going Penn State though. 5. They're at number 5.
Oh, I guess I was looking at ESPN's. Texas is at number 5, which I feel like that's probably the easiest pick to say. They won't finish near top 5.
Yeah, but they do have the benefit of playing in the.
They have the benefit, yeah. Which didn't do them any favors last year.
True.
We see Archie Manning rolled out there before the end of the year.
But Penn State, they have 2 losses already, like on their schedule every year. So it only takes them slipping up 1 or 2 more times for them to, hit their floor.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. No, I mean, I think there's probably outside of Alabama, I think any team can fall pretty well behind. Georgia and Ohio State. I'd say Ohio State's my other one that I could almost confidently say they'll probably finish top 5 in the season.
Yeah,
I don't see Michigan winning this year.
No, and people are like that high on Florida State, and I just can't. I don't understand it. I don't understand. Like Florida State fans were out on Mike Norvell a year ago.
Yeah,
and then they happened to
pull you right back in.
Yeah, they happen to find a quarterback, and they think that they're just this juggernaut, and they're landing these 5-star recruits, and I don't understand it.
They'll also benefit from a poor ACC.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it'll be. I'm excited for this college football season. Betting, I think, is going to be very hard. I think the transfer portal has made the season, like especially the beginning of the season, very difficult to pick.
Yeah.
So.
Because, there's good players, but sometimes those players go to they go to a new school, and it just doesn't work out. Like, it's timing and, fitting in a system and stuff like that. It doesn't all the time work out just based off talent and what you did in your previous stop.
Right. Also, Heath, we're talking about 2022 because this is our 2022 rewatch.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, it is kind of nice to go back and watch these games with a little bit of emotion taken out of them, because I've been saying all offseason, Jalen Wright's your number 1 back. Jalen Wright's your number 1 back. If you get that Jabari Small, he's your number 1 back. 100%.
Yeah. I think that's extremely underrated for Tennessee is their running back room.
Yeah.
Dylan Sampson didn't play a whole lot. Had 500 yards.
Yep.
Last season. So I just think there's a ton of talent in that room, and it doesn't really get that attention that it probably deserves.
But I encourage you, rewatch it with us. Go back and watch Alabama this week. We'll talk about it on Thursday. And I think it's obviously it's fun to go back and rewatch these games, but it's also add some context and kind of like going into this season because Tennessee didn't lose a whole lot.
Yeah.
They lost some key pieces, and that's big. But
yeah,
you're seeing a lot of the same guys.
You have guys that can step up. It's not a huge question mark of, will they be the only question mark I feel like you got is at tackle, right tackle.
Yeah,
that's the biggest loss. I know Hendon Hooker's a big loss. Jalen Hyatt's a big loss. Cedric Tillman was a loss. But you have guys that are able or should be able to make up for some of that production. I just don't know what you have at right tackle. I think that's a huge question mark.
Yeah, my biggest question for quarterback is just efficiency. Can you hang on to the football?
Yep. We have another question from our buddy Ethan Cundiff. Says, question for y'all to either tweet or talk about on the show tomorrow. The most underrated player going into the season this year. He said, mine is Kamal Hadden. I know he got beat multiple times last year and talks a lot of crap, but I have a feeling he steps up and has a big year this season.
I hope you're right. God, I hope you're right. He does talk a lot. He's got a lot to back up. That's for sure. Most underrated player. I feel like we've just talked about so many guys being high on so many guys. Now it's hard to go underrated. I also feel like you returned, like you just talked about the running back room. I don't feel like it's fair to that running back room to call anybody you just mentioned underrated.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, like you have Brew, obviously. Like I don't think Ramel Keaton's in the underrated category anymore. I think you could probably go like someone like Dante Thornton, maybe. Squirrel White, like I don't know if you can call him underrated.
Mine was actually Ramel Keaton.
I don't think he's in that category.
Just because of
because he was kind of covered up, buried a little bit.
Well, yeah, Dante Thornton. You get him. He's your 6'5", 4.3 speed out of the slot. You have Brew McCoy. I just think he's Mr. Consistency and has done it all.
Okay.
Anytime that you need a big play or need a big catch, he's not the biggest guy. He doesn't have the blow you away speed, but he's just consistent and does things the right way. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Ramel Keaton just because of who else you have at wide receiver. I feel like kind of makes him that way. But he is number 9. He's not 80 anymore, so he isn't getting that.
Yeah, that's going to change it a little bit. God, the one guy I kind of want to go, again, I don't think you can call him underrated, but I think he's going to be a crucial part of the crucial part of the defense. It's Amari Thomas. I don't think you can call him underrated by any means, but in terms of there is going to be some new faces down there, but you're always going to have Amari Thomas anchoring. We talked about how well they played against the run. A lot of that's due to Amari Thomas.
Yeah.
And you're going to need him to play well. And I'll stay in the trenches to go offensive. Obviously some shuffling down there. If Cooper Mays can stay healthy, I have full faith in this offensive line.
Yeah, Cooper Mays is a big one.
You need him to stay healthy. Desperately.
I'll go a defense guy. I'll stay with secondary. I'll go Wesley Walker. I think he's going to be a starter at safety. I feel like he was your best. I've said this a lot on the show, but I feel like he was your best safety last year and just didn't really get the run like the others did. But I like kind of how he's always around the football, and he can come up and make some hits. He's played a lot of football. He's a veteran, played a lot at Georgia Tech. So I like what you have at Wesley Walker, and I think he's fits that kind of underrated category and probably is set to have a huge impact this season.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I like those questions. We had another one, didn't we, earlier in the show?
I had to click out of it, so I don't know. I just saw Heath, so I don't know. I trust you. You can find it. Let's go to Landon Rady champ.
How's Tennessee's defense looking?
1% better. 1%, at least 1% better. Sorry, it could be better. Landon's thinking at least 5%, I think.
God, I hope. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you have a lot more depth. So
I think the linebacker position improves drastically.
Yeah.
And I think that too is we dog the secondary a lot. There's a lot of completions over the middle that should not happen. And that's your linebacking group for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't have noticed it until we did this rewatch. That's why we did it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed a lot over the middle's open a lot.
Yeah, and I also think, like, I know our good friend Joey Boots on this show cannot stand 33, but I do think there is something to say with not having a ticking time bomb at that position.
Right.
I think you have a consistent guy in Aaron Beasley.
I do think there are going to be some things missed about the ticking time bomb. Because
yeah,
he was
100%.
a bomb at times,
but yeah, I mean he was a freak athlete. I mean he could run from the linebacker spot and run down a receiver. He was that fast and that explosive, but
there's some liability involved.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do think having a guy like Keenan Peely, who's, what is he, 28 years old? He's like our age. Dude's married, has kids. He is married.
Just trying to get them degrees.
Yeah. But for him to be, have that maturity about him, I feel like is something probably that linebacking core needed last year.
Right.
Especially South Carolina. Or I guess the week leading up to South Carolina. So, I do think the linebacking core improves. I think the secondary has to improve. You have more depth there. I think you have more competition, more talent. So I got to think it's somewhat better. You have guys playing in that same role they did last year. It's Marion McDonald. You have Danico Slaughter. You get Gabe Judy Lally from BYU.
Yeah.
Warren Burrell has played a lot of football in this league. So I do think you have at least experience and then talent to go with that. And so, yeah, God, it has to be better. I worry about getting to the quarterback, honestly. And it has nothing to do with the talent that we have on this team. It was just like, I feel like it wasn't in this LSU game, but it has been an issue. And part of that is probably on the secondary as well, but just not being a second too late to get to the quarterback.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll look for them to be improved. So I'm with it. They're improved. Let's call it. Let's say it. Mm-hmm. Manifestation right here.
A lot better. All
right. Is that it for questions?
That's all I got.
Oh, all right. Let's talk about most important of the week. Let's get into that.
Most important.
How freaking tired I am? Yeah. That'll be a fail, I think. Has to be.
Yeah, some fails for sure. Oh, I gotta go with. I mean, speaking about like being better, Arian Carter, and Cam Seldon look like they have. It looks like they're on their. They're getting their COVID year this year. Like that's. I mean,
they're year 6.
They are ready.
Yeah, no, it looks. I like that we have freshmen that look like grown men. I like that.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
Back to that.
Bryson DeChambeau shot a 58. That's impressive. Claire Rogers, she's a good follow too. Yeah. Claire Rogers is a good follow if you follow golf at all. She's funny. If you know anything about Bryson DeChambeau talking trash about the Masters Augusta, she tweeted, "This is incredible," and even more so when you realize that'd be a 53 at Augusta. So just dogging Bryson.
Yeah,
I love it.
Also, shout out to the people that have reached out to us about the show that we did with Coach Paul Shelton at South Dual. A lot of people loved it. So,
yeah,
shout out to those people for listening. And I know it wasn't our usual Tennessee guest or media member of some sort, but I really appreciate people watching that, and it seemed like people enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, I got one more most important. I got to find his name. Got to give this guy a name. So there's a Tennessee fan, Mike Wilson wrote an article about it. There's a Tennessee fan, Josh Hunt, who traveled to Italy for just got to see Tennessee, 2 of Tennessee's games, but essentially just hopped on. It's like some quick flights, made it to Florence. Then he had to walk 3 miles to the stadium. I think his Uber didn't get there or something. So he had to walk 3 miles to the game. Obviously, there's not many Tennessee fans in attendance at these games, so he stood out. Fans brought him over to their section, like, families of the staff members and other traveling party. A few of the fans that went, they heard his story. They tried to, or they introduced him to Rick Barnes, and then Rick Barnes invited him to a cooking class. So he got to go to a cooking class with the team that night.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, talk about a freaking trip to Italy to see Tennessee, and then gets to meet those guys and cook pasta with them. So Josh Hunt, that's a fan right there.
Heck yeah. I love that. Yeah, to see him play U21 Lithuania, I'm like, that's wild.
Which, like, U21 Lithuania, a couple of years ago, that doesn't sound crazy. A lot of your guys are under 21. Now you have like Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi, who are like 25 now at this point on the team, and you're like, maybe you should beat them by 40.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking Dalton Connect. That dude looks good. Jordan Gainey's putting up some points. Freddie DeLeon. Is that how we say it? Or is that how we're saying it? Because if it's so, sure. I love it.
I did watch a little bit of their first game against Lithuania. I made it through, I don't know how many minutes. I hope we look better than that come season. This is a warm-up game. It's summer, baby. They're just having fun in Italy right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Vault. He did post that game.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to watch, I don't know if you do, but
any fails?
Yeah, I've got a few. I hate to report this. This is Joey's. I mean, it can be mine too, but he wants to give a fail to the most underperforming U.S. women's national team of all time, and a special shout out to his favorite player, Megan Rapinoe. She did just clear a PK over the crossbar. She's way too old to be there. Don't know why she's there. I don't know why Alex Morgan's there. Several old players that just had no business playing in this World Cup, because the rest of the world is now catching up with the U.S. women's national team. It's not a walk through the park with a few challenging games here and there. The World Cup is tough for them. They only won 1 game. It sucked. It was a terrible performance in Australia. And, yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, hate that I missed it.
Yeah, but Joey's favorite player is Megan Rapinoe. So you guys go ahead and dog him for that. He's he thought about coloring his hair purple for this. He was going to color his hair purple for the final, and then she didn't make it, so he can't do that anymore. Yep.
Tough. I have one. So this is a graphic. Okay, it's not on this recruit. So let me just say that. It's an NC State recruit, 4-star, I think wide receiver. Yeah, 4-star wide receiver, Jonathan Paylor. In the graphic, so NC State, it has a Heisman Trophy and the college football playoff trophies in it. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is the graphic has the stadium, and it's the stadium during like graduation. There's like chairs all over it with the seniors in it.
Hey, they want him to graduate, Landon.
I'm just like, dude, what is this?
They're here to get this guy degrees, okay?
Yeah, I was like, dude, why are you putting the national title trophies and a Heisman Trophy in that?
You mentioned ACC. That is funny. I tweeted when I watched the Akron game, and I talked about it on the show how annoying DJ Irons is as a football player.
Mm-hmm.
And I tweeted, I forgot how annoying DJ Irons is. That's in no context. That's all I tweeted. Some Georgia Tech fan tweeted at me like yesterday. So this was during our rewatch, 3 episodes ago?
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted at me yesterday and just said, "Oh, it was very aggressive. You're a sorry sack of shit." I was like, I just don't understand why a Georgia Tech fan was so heated about DJ Irons. But yeah,
so he's
very passionate.
I mean, he's correct. You are sorry.
GT Jackets fan 123. There's 3 of them, I think, that run this account. He's right. So I tweeted that on July 30th. He tweeted back at me August 6th. How did he even find it? What is happening? Is he just looking for every DJ Irons tweet on planet Earth? Because there can't be many. Just absolutely can't be.
That's a great burner if it's just like a random like Georgia fan or something.
Even that, what are they mad about? I just don't know who's defending DJ Irons right now. If it was an Akron fan, I get it. I'm just confused at this point.
I love that.
Or you should start tweeting that at people when it has no like relation to you at all.
Yeah, you should create a burner and just say that to random stuff it doesn't pertain to anything.
I'll be GT Jackets fan 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be the fourth.
You should reply back to him and say, "No, sir, you are sir."
I just thanked him for his valued input. That's all I did. I did respond.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
dude, I saw this one thing. It was disgusting. It's kind of a fail, but it was like this couple at a bar and they're like making out, and the girl just like
tell me more.
Projectile vomits in this dude's mouth.
You see this on TikTok? Was it?
No, it was Old Road tweeted it.
Did they keep? I feel like that dude probably just kept making out with her.
No, he was in shock for sure. I'm gonna send it to you so you can watch it while I say my next one.
Do you think it escalated from there, or do you think it ended?
Man, if it was later on, it's probably later on the night. He probably took her back.
He powered through.
Yeah, he got over it. He couldn't go home alone, you know.
Those damn picklebacks will get you, man.
Yeah. My next one is Tim Anderson.
Okay.
Snoozed.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I didn't know whether it was the most important or a fail because it was a mean hook.
I guess it could. Yeah,
it was a mean right hook.
Well, and like Tim Anderson is like on top of this dude, and he just catches one.
Yeah,
and it's so funny because like that's how it is in like UFC. It's like no matter who is winning the fight, at any moment, like if they catch you, it's over. And that's how it was. Like it looked like Tim Anderson was going to beat this dude into oblivion, and he just catches a stray right hook.
Well, I think it was kind of well deserved. I mean, he literally dropped his glove, ready to go.
Sure.
I mean, he invited the fight in.
Yeah,
it was just going to be words exchanged, and
but the way the dude was like ducking, it just looked like Tim Anderson was probably going to get the best of him.
Yeah,
and
then he just ate one.
Perfect. And did you see the video of him like walking off?
No, is he stumbling?
Oh, dude, it was bad.
That's awesome. I was laughing very hard. I had no dog in the fight. I was like that GT Jackets fan. I just let Tim Anderson know he was a sorry sack of shit.
Yeah. Man, I love baseball fights.
They're good, man.
Yeah,
dude. I was watching this Bryce Harper video. It's pretty interesting. It was like his whole career from high school to the major leagues to now. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember who he fought. It was somebody on the San Francisco Giants. And someone came in to like kind of try and break it up. And they collided with John Smoltz. And dude, their heads, so like they weren't even in the fight, but their heads just bashed together. Or Jeff Samardzija, not John Smoltz. Jeff Samardzija.
Okay, I was about to say John Smoltz.
Who was it? Yeah.
Old.
He is, but dude, he played for a while. Like I saw him at rehab play for the Barons.
It was Hunter Strickland who he got in a fight with.
Who was on the Giants then on that roster? I want to say it was maybe Jeff Samardzija, maybe. Because he's a big dude, which would make sense.
I'm looking up the roster right now.
What position did he play at Notre Dame? Do you remember? Was he a wide receiver?
Was he? I feel like he was.
Tight end? I don't know if he's big enough to be a tight end. He's a big dude. I don't know if he's big enough to be a tight end. It was a good fight, though.
It was. I'm trying to look up. He was the All-American wide receiver.
That is one of the most disgusting videos I've probably ever seen in my life. Who's just recording that though?
Yeah,
That's weird. That's weird.
I have no clue.
Oh God, I can't look away. It's like a bad car accident.
Yeah, it's tough to watch.
Someone said, "Whose mouth did that come from?" It's pretty clear. I think.
Yeah, I don't know if he was on it.
What year was it? I'll look at the Giants.
It was 2017.
Oh, well, they made it sound like that fight was a long time ago. What are you at right now?
Jeff Samardzija was on that.
Okay, so it's Jeff Samardzija who collided with him. I mean, their heads just clanged together. It was nasty. Also, I like in that fight last night how the Chicago White Sox bullpen gets there after the fight's been broken up.
Dude, my favorite part was they just like moved the umpire out of the way and like he was nowhere to be seen after that.
Yeah, which to be fair, if I was the umpire,
Sure.
when it's pretty clear that both are accepting of the fight, I think you just let it go.
Yeah.
And then once one hits the ground, then you step in. It's like a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, 1v. You got to stop it from like
Yeah, can't
out of
escalate.
hand.
If both agree and it's just them, you let it go.
Yeah,
Let it
1v1.
slide.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Did you see that video on that boat dock of that fight?
Yeah, what in the world?
Oh my gosh. And then there's like 6 different videos that seem like they occur 20 minutes apart. It's insane. Also, I love that like genders did not matter in that. Like girls were getting snoozed. One girl like looked like she was just trying to get to the boat and just caught a freaking stray.
Yeah, and then like the dude with the chair.
Yes. If y'all haven't seen it, go look.
Well,
it
like
up.
he's
It's
nowhere to be
insane.
found, and then it's just whack. He's hitting, and then he hits the lady over the top of the head with a chair.
That's who's
then
on
the
the
cops-
ground.
And then the cops like grab him and like take him. And they're like, okay, everybody else who was fighting,
Yeah.
but you can't have a chair. That's unfair. So we got to take
Yeah,
you to
come
jail.
Which in the last video I saw, they were just like, I don't know if they ended up tasing anybody, but anybody throwing, this one cop was just like, I will tase you. And just kept holding it up to different people. It was nuts. It was insane. The security guard was about that life, though. I respect it.
I'm still not 100% like sure what actually happened.
They said that the security guard asked the people in the pontoon boat to move so that big like riverboat could park there, and apparently they just did not like being asked that.
I just feel like it's.
And then it escalated from. Then it became, you're fighting, I'm fighting. Oh, you're fighting, now I'm fighting again. So I think it was just like it became a cluster of just meaningless stuff after the initial fight. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Maybe that's what Jose Ramirez said to Tim Anderson. He's like, "Hey, move your boat," and it was just like, put him up.
It was on.
Yeah.
He told him to move something, and he moved it for him.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Oh, have you watched the Jake Paul thing yet?
The fight?
The fight? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Is it bad?
Dude, it's so dumb.
Is it?
I do think he's like an okay boxer, but like he's not fighting boxers.
Yeah, he needs to fight boxers. Yeah. He did really. There is a documentary out on him now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. By Untold, people who did the Manti Taylor one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I think it came out today.
Might try to check that out.
There's supposed to be a Johnny Manziel one coming out. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, I did see that. I want to.
I don't know when it's supposed to release.
I'd rather watch Johnny Manziel than Jake Paul, but
I don't think it's out yet. But
okay,
I'll have to look.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Have a good week.
Yeah.
We'll be back on Thursday talking some Alabama. Probably figure out logistics on that.
Oh yeah, that's right. We may not be back. Might be back Sunday.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But thanks for listening. Have a good week. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.